terrorists or revolutionaries, explosives still seem to have the greatest effect. The variety of items used to burn or blow up buildings, automobiles, and people are limitless. This presentation will focus on some of the more popular improvised incendiary and explosive devices used throughout the world, beginning with the simplest, the Molotov cocktail, and then move to the improvised devices and the use of plastic explosives. The most common and easily constructed incendiary device is the Molotov cocktail of World War II fame. The basic configuration of this firebomb consists of a glass bottle filled with gasoline and a cloth which has been inserted into the neck of the bottle. This incendiary device can be quickly and easily assembled. To use it, the wick is simply lit and the bottle thrown against its target. The bottle breaks and the flame ignites the escaping fuel. These bombs have been used a lot by the National Liberation Movement, or the MLN, commonly known as the Tupamaros of Uruguay, against targets such as public transportation, automobiles, government buildings, including U.S. embassies. When extremists realized the limitations of this standard firebomb, they devised some new applications. To keep the wick from going out, they began to use sanitary napkins rather than a piece of cloth. And to improve the poor incendiary properties of straight gasoline, they began to use thickened fuel fillers such as motor oil. This filler is less volatile than straight gas, burns longer, and has good penetration, and is more effective than gasoline against all but the most ignitable target materials. The Red Brigades of Italy have been using different types of Molotov cocktails against industrial targets for some time. They have certainly proven how important it is for the mixture to burn longer while it is on the target. This homemade Molotov does just that. The mixture consists of soap flakes, which gels very nicely when mixed with the basic ingredient, gasoline. As you can see, it has a very unique appearance prior to use. The wick is improved by simply taping a highway emergency flare to the bottle. This mixture will burn longer and clings better to the target surface, providing a long-burning ignition source for hard-to-ignite materials. You'll also notice that this type of firebomb leaves a pretty distinctive signature which can be used to indicate the degree of sophistication of the using group. All devices discussed thus far have had one common weakness. They all require a burning wick or some type of open flame for ignition. This is a serious tactical deficiency. Contemporary terrorist groups have found a way to eliminate this problem. They have developed the hypergolic firebomb. This is a firebomb which ignites due to the chemical reaction of two of its components and requires no wick or flame for ignition. These react to produce an explosion. In a common version, one of the chemicals is placed inside the bottle containing the fuel mixture, and the other chemical is placed inside the paper bag which surrounds the bottle. When the bottle is broken, the two chemicals come into contact, thus igniting the fuel mixture. These two chemicals are easily procured commercially and attract no unusual attention when purchased. So, should you see someone walking down the street carrying a bottle in a paper bag, he may not be the neighborhood lush, but the neighborhood bomber. If you are driving in an automobile, your best defense is to keep the windows rolled up and keep the vehicle moving. If you should be stopped in traffic and you see a device being thrown towards your vehicle, you can improve your chances by placing your hands flat against the inside of the glass of the target window. Even without someone placing their hands to support the window, the Molotov is not very effective against a moving vehicle. In our controlled test, we found that if the terrorists could ever get the wick lit, the Molotov was very hard to break. In most cases, the bottle just bounced off the car, doing virtually no damage at all. The problem of penetrating the automobile's window glass with a firebomb has also been a challenge to the terrorists. One of their solutions was to use a thicker bottle, such as a Coke bottle or a champagne bottle, as the container. This bottle, with its thick bottom and sides, can actually penetrate the window glass. But unfortunately for the terrorist, and fortunately for you, it usually doesn't break after impacting inside the car. Considering that you are not unconscious from being struck in the head, you should be able to throw the Molotov back at the terrorist. Remember, if you are firebombed, do not panic, and most importantly, do not stop. Continue driving away from the confrontation area. If the bottle does break and the burning filler remains outside the car, there is only a slight chance of being injured. The fire should burn out very quickly. Another method of firebombing that has been used by the Irish Republican Army in Northern Ireland and by groups in Greece is the stationary device that can be detonated remotely at just the right moment. Here we are using the hypergolic type bomb, typifying placement on a crowded city or residential sidewalk. To break the glass bottle and allow the chemicals to mix and ignite the gasoline, a long-distance rifle shot may be used. This is the result. The initial fireball will be 20 to 30 feet in diameter, but in less than 20 seconds, most of the gasoline will be consumed. Any remaining flames will be no more than 1 to 2 feet in height, covering only 1 square yard of the surface area. There are other easily constructed improvised incendiary devices available to radicals, which are just as lethal as bombs. And with little help from the recipes in the Anarchist Cookbook and some other books, anyone can mix dangerous concoctions. It describes how common household items, which can be purchased off the shelf of any supermarket, can be used for highly effective incendiary effects. Separately, commonly used Drano and brake fluid are innocuous materials, but when combined, can produce a violent fire or even an explosion. An alternate mixture uses pine sol and pool chlorine. Depending on the humidity and other unknown factors, the results can sometimes be anything but what is predicted in the books. This mixture should produce deadly chlorine gas, but it can also produce an explosion or other dangerous effects. The last recipe consists of sugar, potassium chlorate, and sulfuric acid, and has to be handled very carefully. You can see that the intense flame closely resembles a thermite grenade. To depend on the recipes in this cookbook could be a mistake. Fortunately for us, many terrorists have used them and are no longer in business. Devices are not confined to the incendiary type. The terrorist's most popular device of destruction is the bomb, an explosive device. The explosive ingredient used ranges from black powder and smokeless powder to plastic explosive, the most versatile and easiest to use. A very simple bomb that was used in the 60s during the student unrests and is still showing up all over the U.S. today is the large firecracker, the M80 or the cherry bomb. In its original state, although dangerous, it is not considered deadly. But with a few minor modifications, a little glue, some BBs, or a handful of nails, the destructive capability changes drastically. Another device used frequently is referred to in the terrorist world as the people's hand grenade or the pipe bomb. It is the most popular of the larger explosive devices because it holds more explosive and provides the desired metal fragmentation. As you can see, there is as much variety in the types of pipe bombs as there are pipes available. They can be left smooth or be serrated, causing a more uniform distribution and larger fragments. A 3-inch iron water pipe, approximately 8 inches long, has been very popular. It is threaded at both ends, on which 2 iron pipe caps are later screwed on. The explosive, whether black or smokeless powder, is normally placed in another container smaller than the pipe, then inserted into the pipe. If plastic explosive is used, naturally the inner container is not necessary. The remaining space around the explosive is then surrounded by metal fragments, shot, nails, or scrap metal. The Irish Republican Army calls the debris shipyard confetti. A fuse, non-electric or electric blasting cap, can be used to detonate the device depending on the type of explosive. The non-electric blasting cap is inserted into the powder with its fuse cord passed through a drilled hole in the cap. The cap is then screwed on. Timing devices are widely used. One of the most common is the electric blasting cap with a simple watch body for the timer and a small battery for the electric energy source. This gives the bomber ample time to be miles away when the bomb explodes. We have constructed a pipe bomb similar to the one you have just seen and placed it among several silhouette targets to demonstrate its destructive effect. If dynamite is used as the filler, the metal fragments will be propelled somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 feet per second. This is 3 to 4 times faster than a bullet from a .45 caliber weapon. While looking at the jagged holes in the targets, keep in mind that this thin cardboard target offers little resistance to the blast and cannot even come close to resembling the damage that can be inflicted on the human body. Explosive materials, other than gunpowder, are not obtained legally. High on the terrorist priority list for theft is Composition 4, or C4 as it is commonly referred to. It is probably the most popular explosive and is sought by all terrorists because of its versatility, stability, and explosive power. It is a high-order explosive and comes in a form of soft plastique, which can be molded into just about any configuration. In other words, it can fit into, on, or around just about anything. This makes it easy to smuggle and use in assorted improvised explosive devices, as small as a cigarette pack or as thin as a magazine or letter. Using a sheet of moldable explosive and miniature components, a letter bomb is easily fabricated and easily concealed. It can be designed to detonate upon opening. A demonstration will provide graphic results of opening one of these bombs. A mannequin, seated at a desk or table, is simulated opening a letter containing much more than paper and ink. This bomb contained only 1 ounce of C4. The letter bomb is unique since it can be sent directly to the intended victim, leaving the bomber far away when the bomb explodes. The letter bomb principle has been transferred to the book bomb. A paper insulating strip, such as this $20 bill, has been inserted between 2 foil strips to prevent their making contact and completing the electrical firing circuit. A view of the internal construction shows the 2 square aluminum foil strips or contacts, which have been separated by the paper insert, and the batteries connected to an electric blasting cap, which is inserted in plastic explosive. This book can also be placed on a bookshelf in a public library. A string from the paper insert is attached to the back wall of the bookshelf. When the book is removed, the explosion occurs. Of course, the larger explosion, the better for the terrorist. Thus, a larger container is needed. A briefcase can hold a lot of explosive. It can also be equipped with many anti-disturbance and triggering mechanisms. This one has 2 timing devices, one that activates the other, and several anti-motion and anti-penetration or tampering devices. Each one is quite simple, but when used in conjunction with one another, makes a rather complex device. Most package bombs, however, are not that complex, and they normally are contained in a cardboard box with a simple timer or contact-type switch. Triggering devices are usually simple, like those used in letter bombs and book bombs. To demonstrate the power which can be contained in a small package bomb, 2 ounces of plastic explosive have been placed on the ground in the center of the 2 stacked car tires. Watch now as it is detonated. Probably the most frightening and the most destructive of bombs is the car bomb. It can contain a large amount of explosive and has been used to indiscriminately kill anyone around it or to assassinate the occupant. There are numerous places within a vehicle to hide an improvised explosive device and just as many ways to trigger it. It may be placed anywhere inside the automobile, on the outside, under the fender wells, or on the undercarriage. The soap dish bomb device is commonly used on the outside of the vehicle. It can be made with C4 inside with a battery source and a timer or simple triggering device. The terrorist simply has to walk down the street, reach down to tie his shoe or retrieve something he has dropped, or placing the soap dish device underneath the gas tank. That is why it is best to park your car in a secure area away from normal pedestrian traffic. If you feel you are threatened, make a visual inspection of your vehicle before you enter it. Explosive, along with less than a quarter tank of gas. Because of its vulnerability, the automobile remains a popular target for the terrorist. In committing terrorist acts, the terrorist is merciless in his style and lethal in his actions. He selects his weapons carefully, choosing only those which will best accomplish his operation.